When I founded the band, I thought two names: Whiskey City Pipes and Drums or 35th Indiana Pipes and Drums. We ended up on 35th Indiana because, whether you know it or not, most pipe bands are a pseudo military organization. Pipe bands grew out of the British Highland regiments back in the early 1900s. So we wanted that military adjustment. So we found out 35th Indiana, if you guys don't know, was also known as the first Irish of Indiana. It's the only all Irish regiment in the infantry at that time. Now, every state had their own first Irish regiment, infantry regiment, but that was ours. The membership was included, most of the officer corps came out of Indianapolis or Hamilton County, but all the membership, all the enlisted and all the non-coms came from this area, northern Louisville, northern Kentucky, and southwestern Ohio. So it was very much a regional force, and that's what we wanted the band to be, and have a real good regional identity. So they were Irish. Obviously, the bagpipes is Scottish, but we're Americans. So we talked about the tartan that we wear. The tartan is the kilt that we wear, is the Irish American tartan. So it has the red, white, and blue to signify our American heritage. It has the green for the Irish heritage, and it's a tartan, and it's a Scottish kilt to recognize our Scottish heritage. So I like to make sure that everybody understands, no, we're an American pipe and drum corps, but we love our Scottish and Irish heritage and celebrate that as much as we can by arguing and fussing and fuming and all those things you hear, colloquialisms about those groups, Celtic groups. We keep those alive as well. But that's a little bit about us. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We regularly support a Ride to Remember that comes out of Batesville. It's sponsored by the Patriot Guard Riders. We'll be doing that in June, where we ride around all over southern Indiana, commemorating and remembering our Gold Star families of those who have lost loved ones from the Iraq wars on forward. So if you have a chance to catch one of those services and ceremonies, I highly recommend that. You'll see the honor and dignity that excuse me, our voices are. Anybody with questions about us, or
how does somebody reach you? Where do they find you at?
Go on Facebook. We're on Facebook, 35th Indiana Pipes and Drums. You'll end up calling me at my cell number, and I'll tell you what to do. We practice Wednesday nights at the Tate Street station up next to the hospital, fire station up there.
Ludlow Hill State.
Ludlow Hill State. That's right. Tate Street's where we were. I'm a country guy. I can tell you, go to the Red Barn and turn left at the oak tree. And but anyway, so we're up there. We lessons start at 6. They run for about an hour, 45 minutes or so, and then practice starts for the rest of the performing members of the band after that. You don't have to have anything to show up. One of the mottos we have with the band is nobody will ever want for an instructor or gear to learn to play this instrument. When I first started learning to play, I would drive down to Cincinnati and try to catch somebody at the pipe band there. Oh, excuse me, can you show me how this works, how to play that, how to do this and how to do that? And I decided when we started this band, we weren't going to do that. If you needed help, somebody was going to be there to help. So we'll supply you with a practice chanter. We'll supply you with the drumsticks, practice pad, and all that stuff. We do require a little bit of a deposit because we lost a lot of practice gear out the door over the years from that. But once you're there 6 weeks, 6 months or something, when you feel fully committed to something you want to do, we refund that $40 deposit. And so it's really, in essence, free to join. But we'll take you all the way from not knowing how to read music all the way to being a piper. The gentleman you heard playing earlier there, I've known that guy since he was 8 or so, somewhere around there. He's probably one of the best bagpipers in this region, in this area. We've got some very highly talented people, some very good, solid pipers, and when you join us, you're going to join a family. So if you got kids, they automatically have aunts and uncles that will help spy. All you gotta do is ask. But we all be there to help each other out. We all try to be there. Just like joining a family member, just like joining the military, the fire department, or the police department. We'll be there for you. Any other?
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for listening to me drone on here and ramble. So.
Thank
Thank
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Okay. We're going to move to the public hearing. So Dwayne, if you would, motion to approve, open the public hearing.
Yeah, make a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So,
You want to go?
yeah, just
the
as
boundary?
far as procedurally here, I believe we would want to start with the petitioners, who are petitioning to establish the apparent right of way, who are represented by Mr. Eubank as well as Mr. Kraus. And then I know that Mr. Reeves is here, on behalf of the Highlands and Denslers, I believe. And so I was thinking just to keep us moving forward, 10 minutes aside, and then general public comment after that. If that's fine with you guys,
Sounds fine.
okay?
Andy, would I be allowed to rebuttal if I'm going first? Just real quick. Less than 2 minutes.
Rebuttal for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chris.
And also you need to.
Okay, so 10-minute chief, 2 minutes each rebuttal, and then there would be time if there is any other general public comment, since this is a formal public hearing. But then I guess we would start, Jared, with your.
Thank you. Commissioners, Mr. Bondistel, I represent, as Andy said, I represent the Grapple Properties. And before I begin, I'd like to give Mr. Bob Grapp, the patriarch of the family, a chance to speak to the commissioner. So you could, Bob.
As you said, my name is Bob Graff. I am the person that actually purchased this property, okay? On behalf of, it was a gift to my children. We purchased it, well, we made the agreement probably about September, okay? The first thing I did, well, I knew there was a road, because I had traveled that road years ago, when you could travel it. Okay, first thing I did was down to the courthouse, check with the surveyor, make sure that we had a county road, and okay, we had a county road. When I bought this, the thought never even entered my mind to put a house or subdivision. These people came up, I don't know where they came. We have no intention of doing that. That property, according to our LLC, has to remain in one continuous piece, okay? It can never be subdivided. If someone of the family decides that they don't want their portion, they have to offer it to another. So it's going to stay in one piece. At the way it's set up, it can't be subdivided. So therefore, you can't put it. If it can't be subdivided, you can't put a house on it, much less a subdivision. That thought never even entered my mind when I bought this property to put a subdivision on, or much less a house. Where they came up with this, just I don't know. Okay, and I've been a member of this community for my entire life. I grew up in New Elsis. I currently reside in Dover. I've lived here my whole life, except for the years in the military, okay? I'm a member of the American Legion for over 50 years. I belong to the North Dearborn Conservation Club, All Saints Parish, so I'm well invested in the community. And I'm not going to do anything to adversely affect the community. Where they come up with this stuff, I don't know. And furthermore, what I want to say is a couple months ago when we were at a meeting, the commissioners did not want to set a precedent. They said there's too many county roads. We don't want to set a precedent. But what I don't understand is it seems to me like a precedent was set back in '99 when they gave Tenslers the permission to use that road to access their property. Now, we're asking for the exact same thing. So how can you give it to one person and not the other. I would think that if you follow the law, you have to, it's precedent is set that you have to follow that. That is my argument, okay? Other than the fact that that property is gonna remain as it is, I don't plan on doing anything as far as constructing a house, much less a subdivision, which is, they just pulled this out of thin air. I don't know where they came up with that. So that's my argument. That's just what I want. I just wanted to bring that home and let you know my stance, okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I'd like to call Mr. Denny Kraus up, and Denny's gonna show you some exhibits that prove that Dog Ridge Road is a county road.
Good evening, Commissioners. Dennis Kraus Jr., JDJ Surveying and Engineering.
There's, right there, look down this computer there. There it is, that one. There you go, sir.
All right, thank you. Little technologically challenged this evening.
You're halfway through.
All right, this is the same slide presentation that I showed the commissioners a few months back. So it's still called the Dog Ridge Road Driveway Permit. Essentially what the change is now we petition for an apparent right of way. This is the property that Grackle LLC owns that they purchased from Severs's. And I just have the application is for Grackle now, where prior I was here with for Severs Incorporated. It just gives a little outline of what I've got here. This is the 1860 County Atlas that shows the road running along the approximate east boundary of the Highland Tract down through two parcels of the Severs's, what was the Severs's property, now it's Grackle and the Severs Incorporated property. You can clearly see here that the road came in to another road that followed the creek, and then you can see Jacobs Road coming in through the left side of where the number 27 is. This is a undated map that I recovered. It essentially shows the same thing. Here's the 1875 Atlas. I've got a couple of boxes highlighted in blue where we believe there were residences on these parcels. This road would have been used to access those residences. This is the 1899 Atlas, which was put together by Albert Gridley, county surveyor, in the 1890s. I have an orange highlight mark on these showing where the road was at that time. This is the 1936 Indiana Highway Survey Commission map that shows that this was a 33-foot wide right of way. I could find very little information on this map other than the information that was on it. But that's where we used the 33-foot width for the establishing the apparent right of way. This is a 1970 plat book page that shows Dog Ridge down there where the orange highlight mark is. Given the scale of these maps, I probably wouldn't have expected this to be exact. This is a circa 1899 auditor's map that shows the ownership at that time. This is approximately a 1930s auditor's plat that shows that the Seavers tracks were in separate ownership at that time. And then that's my handwriting that shows that the deeds of that prior to this. A minute and a half, wow. This is Hillshade. I've got highlighted where the two, the shortcut was bought in 1903 and where the original road was in orange. This is a deed to Seavers Incorporated that calls out a post in the road indicating that it was definitely a road. This is a Densler's deed that calls out to the center of a road, thence was said road, and it goes two courses, which those two courses run between Densers and Highlands. That shows that the piece accepted out of Highlands deed was conveyed to a guy named William Hammerly, whose deed also calls the center of a county road. Another old deed that references the road. That deed and the next deed are where the township trustee purchased land to build another road that severs the Highland property and the Kraus property, which hasn't been maintained in many years. This is the commissioner's minutes that clearly indicate the commissioners authorized the purchase of the right of way. And they do not mention a vacation where when other parts of Dog Ridge Road were moved, it's specifically mentioned in the commissioner's minutes that the road was vacated, the former road. And this is just some information from the commissioners' meetings back 6 years ago. And this is a 1936 aerial map, and I'm told that I'm finished, so. Thank you, sir.
So just real quick, the chairman and members of the board, this case is not about creating a new road. It is not about the Dearborn County to spend money maintaining a road. And it's not about allowing a private landowner to invent a shortcut through his neighbor's property. What we're asking to do is to look at these facts. We have the 1999 decision with Densler. That's exactly what we're asking for this board to do. Allow us to indemnify the county, let us to take over maintenance, let us to repair, maintain that road in perpetuity moving forward. We also want to put forth some of the evidence, of course, is that you have a deed that absolutely says county road. We found a common owner. It was back in there, basically the man by the name of Basket gave it to Hammerly, then gave it to the actual Highlands. The Highlands are actually in the deed record. They trace theirs back to Basket. Basket, when he deeded this property, he called for a county road in the middle of his property. He didn't have to do that. He did. It happens to be the Densler or the Highlands right now, their eastern boundary is defined by this county road. So the very deed record says it enough. And so some other issues, well, you know, here we have more than a faint trail. We have, you know, the old maps, we have deeds using the roads as monuments, we have surveys, we have physical evidence, we have a county action 1999 to 2000 where we're doing exactly what we're asking for today. And we have the Denslers previously being allowed to use that road. So this is what the Grackles are asking, Grackle Inc. and the Graff family is asking, that the apparent right-of-way of Dog Ridge Road under Indiana code be put forward as an actual county highway into their maintenance and control. And I just want to thank you for your time, and we respectfully ask the board to recognize what the records have already shown. Dog Ridge Road may be overgrown, but it has never been erased. Thank you, commissioners.
If you're fine, I was just gonna, that was a little bit longer, so I was gonna change it to 12 minutes. It's just a little bit longer.
Is our slideshow on that laptop?
Get this off. Danny, how do I kick you off here?
I think you just exit and close me down.
Let's see.
Oh, this is your,
Yeah, this.
okay, do you have grants then that he submitted? He had a PowerPoint also.
Yeah.
Do you know where it is on there?
It's under my emails.
This is all on your phone.
I'd like the micro machines guy.
That's a blast from the past. He should probably just be able to.
Just
scroll
maximize
through it
it.
as needed. Does that work? If you can kind of
Yeah.
scroll through it as needed, okay.
We could
Sorry.
max that if he wants to make it bigger.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, so. The commissioners gave a little leeway there, so I changed it to 12 minutes, just, but, and you still have your two.
All right, so what we are here tonight for is establishment of the parent right of way under Indiana code. The key thing to remember is that is a permissive process. It clearly says the commissioners may do this and if they desire to do this. Another key that came up towards the end there is this does bring the right of way into the county system. This makes it your baby. If there was ever any doubt on if it was your baby or not, this brings it in. This is not a process of creating a private driveway. To,
Grant, could you say who all you're speaking on behalf of?
yes, I am speaking on behalf of the Highlands and the Denslers, the two adjacent property owners primarily. If anyone else wishes to join in, I've worked with the Halls as well to some extent, so. This standard does not, we're not here to decide if this is or is not a highway as of this moment. I respect what Mr. Kraus said. Although I would like to preserve an objection that there is some ambiguity that he's represents a private citizen and is the county surveyor, which does give some challenges to due process for my clients. But that's not what we are here for as far as is this or isn't this established county road. We're here to determine if this should be an apparent right of way. Prior actions don't govern this as far as the prior precedent. That was 25 years ago. That's locked down. Neighbors were not contesting it. I believe that if you establish this potentially with the neighbors contesting it, if there's actually not grounds for it, you're basically, this is a taking. That you're taking property away from my clients. Additionally, if you look back at Mr. Kraus's documentation, there's a couple things in there. One, at the time that they did do that in 99, 2000, the county attorney said that we are going forward, and this is in his slideshow, that you're going forward because it's not clear if this was a road or not. There was an ambiguity, and they said we're going forward with the apparent right-of-way petition at that point. Also, if you look at the survey that was dated March of 2000 from what Mr. Kraus presented, there is a cutoff on between the Denslers and Highlands property. This did not establish that there's an apparent right of way going clear down to North Dearborn Road or even back to what's now the Grayville property. It established a narrow band on a narrow focused effort there. It does not create a precedent, does not create anything that binds you to anything, because we're talking about different set of circumstances, different facts here. And again, at that point, they went through this process because according to those meeting minutes, they did not establish that this was a county road at that time. If opened, as I said, this is your baby. You can attempt to indemnify, you can attempt to pass off maintenance. For you, you've got a good partner here in the Denslers so far, and that's been great. Going forward, though, you have to understand that you're doing that as well, and you're doing that for a lot bigger territory, potentially. You're doing that potentially connecting on south from here. And that may not always be the case. I'm sure the Graffs are great people, but you have to think about what's going to happen 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when you make this decision. Because once you bring this in, unless you vacate it at some later point, this is part of the county highway system. It ultimately does come back on you if there's liability issues, if there's maintenance issues, any of those types of things. At the end of the day, if that agreement doesn't get upheld, you brought this into the system, whether it was or not to begin with. Additionally, if you do this, you do need to set up clear maintenance standards. You need to make sure that this is safe and passable. You need to establish that. I don't think anything has been presented as far as any guidelines on what's going to occur with that. If I'm wrong, Jared can correct me on that or someone else. But that needs to be thought out as well, because you are passing off the obligation on this. And again, you are passing off something that you are bringing into the county system. Another point here, we can kind of step through some of the slides here. So this is also, the apparent right of way is based off of appearances of roadways. If you look back in time, going back even to 1953, the portion south of that 1903 right of way, which would also be south of when the Denslers did an apparent right of way, is already overgrown in 53. It's also largely overgrown in 1936. If you look today, there are some pictures along back through there. There are some pictures up at the opening of this near Denslers. But if you get back in there, again, on the apparent right of way, these are pictures that were taken along back. You can see here back at along in this section where we got curvature and going back, where this is overgrown, and it's far from apparent that there is a roadway there. In addition, when you're looking at this, when you're looking at the aerial, there's obviously far from a road there. And again, or a right of way there, an apparent right of way there. Again, we're not determining if this was a road or wasn't a road. We're determining if you are taking the permissive step of granting them an apparent right of way. So going on down into this, they deeded this property back in December. This was contested at that point back in December, was up in the air. And I would ask you, to me, it's readily apparent that there is an alternate access to this. There's an alternate way to get to that underneath the ordinance that your attorney put together as far as an easement by necessity over the seller's property. If they didn't have that, would you buy a property, put down your money on the table when you've got this as your only means of contested access? When it's not been established, you're going to go forward, you may be landlocked, you don't know. To me, that's pretty good solid evidence that somebody must have thought that there is another way to get to this. I believe that way is an easement by necessity. There is access coming from the property to the south. Additionally, and I can hand in a copy of the deed, is a bit hard to read. There is an easement on here granting access on further south from the immediate property we're talking about, where the property to the south will also have access. There's discussion, I think, about potentially acquiring that property, but there's no limiter on that. If you're opening up to this tract, you are now inherently opening up on further south, because there has been an easement granted in this deed. And again, I can hand you a copy of the deed, as it is a bit hard to read up here. Finally, I mean, we have talked about development down there, but we've got operating agreement here. And the purpose is to acquire, to own, manage, improve land use, enjoyment, potential future investment in the property. The land is intended for various forms of recreation, ATVing, agreed upon activities. There, it talks about potential for profits to be distributed. One of my clients pointed out, it talks about fishing, and it does not appear that there's a fishing lot on there. So this would belie that at some point it looks like there's probably going to at least be some development on this. And again, you are also now, because of the way that deed is drafted, inherently opening up onto the south of this property to development. And I think if I have any other key points, So. The other, a significant point here is is to me, this really is a taking. If this is not a road. And was not a road, or it never was properly established, as I don't think it was, going back on that part beyond the 1903. Then you are taking. In any case, even if you do determine that this is public by this, or you determine that this public as a road, you are then converting that to a private driveway. And the difference here is, at the time, the Highlands acquiesced to that. I mean, there was not, it's been 25 years ago. Most actions of commissioners have about a 30-day appellate window on it that you'd have to file for the judicial review. So that's long past. They acquiesced to that. They have worked with them. In this case, that's not what is happening. You are taking this, you will be taking whatever you deem this to be, if it's within the county highway system, and dedicating it to one property owner, or potentially property owners if they do develop on South. And you're putting that maintenance obligation on them, putting all of the access on them, which is really converting it to their private driveway, which is taking away a right from my client. Even if this is a roadway, if this roadway gets vacated, it splits down the middle and goes to my clients. The right to have a road there, the right to have an apparent right of way there, does not give the right to put a driveway for one person on it. And I understand that had occurred in the past, but again, we've got a different set of circumstances here, where we have two very concerned landowners about what is going to happen, what has been happening so far. They already had an issue where someone was out there attempting to clear on the roadway, when there was no agreement in place as to doing that, which unfortunately kind of set us back on some discussions here. But they have grave concerns about this, and grave concerns about what's going to happen with their property going forward. So again, just to wrap things up in conclusion, I'm hearing that this is mandatory, you have to do this. It's not. This is permissive under the statute. They have another means of getting access to that. It may be inconvenient or expensive, but they have chosen that. There's court precedent saying that if they've chosen that, that's their baby. That's what they have to live with. That's what they have to abide by. And they obviously, to me, thought there was something there, because they did go ahead and close on this property. So I think that's all I have at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Very quick, I'll be quick. So there's a good saying, My Cousin Benny, where the guy goes, well, that other guy's just full of BS, but I'm not gonna go there. First, I want to talk about alternative ways to get there, right? The only alternative way to get there is an airdrop. There is no way. We talked about that before. You have to go down a mountain, cross a creek, go up another mountain to get there. The other thing I'm gonna say is that the evil capitalists that Grackles are, their great plan to develop this is to have a fishing pond. Okay, that they maybe want to invite their grandchildren, neighbors to come fishing. Maybe even the Highlands and the Denslers come out, go fishing sometime. There's no great plan for development. Bob just came up here and told you that. One thing I want to do, Denny, can you come up here real quick? There was a statement earlier that this road is ambiguous, right? And so if I could, I want to go down here and we'll look at your survey real quick. And I just have one question, or a couple questions here, Denny. First off, when you established this survey, did you find a physical roadbed?
Found a depression that looked to me like it was a roadbed. I have met out there with the county engineer, who also believed that it was a roadbed. I walked that all the way down to Tanner's Creek. We stopped the apparent right of way at the end of Highlands property because it met the purpose. I mean,
So you saw it this way. One question I have for you. This
Yeah.
right here is this property line for Highland, correct?
property line for, yes,
Highlands here,
this is Highlands.
understood. This is Grackles starting right about here, correct?
This is correct.
Understood. Now, when you did your investigation and when you looked at all the surveys, deeds and everything else like that, all the atlases, were you able to measure or look at where those property lines were at? My big question, did you look at the basket deed?
Yes, I looked at the basket deed. They're two or three of them, actually. There's two descriptions in the one. And it makes reference to the road from Tanner's Creek to Willie's Blockhouse.
So, well, one last question, just real quick. When you looked at the basket deed, you saw the measurements of where that's located and where it calls for the county road. Is that where you found the actual location of the county road?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Make it like 2.5, just to try and keep things straight.
I should be pretty brief. So, couple points. One, I apologize. Mr. Gensler could not be here, and I would like to preserve an objection that he could not be here. He's had heart surgery. We'd requested a possibility of a continuance. I understand that did not occur, but I would just like to preserve that for the record. Another is there are no mountains on this property. I mean, yes, we're going into my cousin Vinny route. That was a little bit of hyperbolic. I mean, they chose this route. They chose to go ahead and close on this property. Finally, regardless of what Mr. Kraus is saying, we are not here tonight to say if this is or is not a road. We're here tonight to determine if you are going to remove any doubt, and then you are going to attempt to convert that to use by one private property owner when you have adjacent property owners that are negatively affected and are contesting that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make one quick point?
Andy?
Would be up to you guys. I mean, we do have to open it to general
Okay,
public comment.
Just a
Okay.
minute. It'll take a
Real
minute.
quick, real
Okay.
quick.
We actually bought this or had an agreement in probably about September. We did not close on this property until the end of December. After you people decided that that was a road, that's when we actually paid for the thing. So we knew we had access. So to rescind that now, that would be a hell of a hardship. Silly.
Thank you. Want to close this and make a
Well,
suggestion?
we're still in the public hearing, so if
Oh, okay.
any general
Right,
public.
right. Come on up. Tell us who you are, like we don't know.
I'm Greg Highland. I own the property with my wife there, that 18 acres. And one thing I'll point out to you, if you look here, then he can verify it or not, there's somewhat a disputed boundary. This isn't etched in stone as you might think it is. There's a question right here. Denny could explain to you whatever's going on there, but there's some question that isn't as precise as possible. I would like, I'm an electrician. I've been an electrician for 56 years. I'm not a public speaker. I like permission just to read a page and a half here that I think states some unintended consequences. I'll be honest with you, I'm not one of these computer gurus. I made copies, okay, for the commissioners. Oh. Thank you.
Thank you.
I titled this, "The Case for Denying the Apparent Right-of-Way at Dog Ridge Road." On December 30th, 2025, Grackle Properties purchased from Severs 58.8 acres of property with a tax parcel ID. This is significant because in the state of Anda, we were told you cannot buy or sell so-called landlocked property. Purchase of the property by Grackle LLC would declare that the property is not considered landlocked, and therefore the requested apparent right-of-way is not necessary and should be denied by the Dearborn County Commissioners. Grackle Property LLC for ingress and egress to the property they purchased from Severs can use the same routes Severs has used since they first purchased the property in the early 1970s. Additionally, we believe there are several unintended consequences that should be considered and warrant the denying of the apparent right-of-way at Dog Ridge Road. The first one is, if the requested right-of-way at the end of Dog Ridge Road, it will effectively open the apparent right-of-way for the entire distance from the current end of Dog Ridge Road all the way down to the paved North Dearborn Road. When this issue started out, it was represented as one parcel of property applying for a permit for a private driveway constructed on the right of way of Dog Ridge Road, formerly the St. Leon to New Alcis Road. The intended apparent right of way is very detailed in a pro forma survey that was presented by Dennis Kraus and was published with the notice of this public hearing. The pro forma survey shows a clear ending of the apparent right of way at the south property line of the 18 acres that's owned by myself and my wife. However, the deed for the Grackle property purchased on December 30th from Severs includes the following paragraph. Grantor, that's Severs, hereby reserves an ingress and egress easement and utility easement over and across the described real estate above. This easement shall run with the land and shall benefit Grantor's tract to the south, briefly described as located in Dearborn County, Indiana, and better described as follows, ... Please refer to exhibits 1A and 1B. That's a copy of the deed with that there. Plus, there's a plot map and it shows the amount of ground. This is out of the Dearborn County Atlas. It's just 231 acres. And what's interesting is it goes on both sides of North Dearborn Road. So I'm not an attorney, I'm an electrician. I don't know what landlocked means, but you landlocked, you got road frontage on Dearborn Road on both sides of the road. It's hard to think you could describe it as landlocked, but again, I'm just a humble electrician. Says the above paragraph effectively gives access to the apparent right of way for both the 85 and 84 acre parcels that Severs still owns on the south side of the 58.5 acre parcel that they sold to Grackle Properties. So in other words, the apparent right of way will cover a total of 227.91 acres and extend from the paved end of Dog Ridge Road and to the paved North Dearborn Road. In our opinion, it does not take much imagination to see what development possibilities the approval of the apparent right of way would mean for the remaining 169.11 acres still owned by Severs. The paragraph about the grantor maintaining an easement across the property they sold begs the question that if that is what they wanted, why not include that information on the pro forma survey? What was the motive to sneak the easement in to the additional 169.11 acres into a paragraph of the deed for the property that just sold? Why not be open about the entire extent of the apparent right of way? Unintended consequence number 2. If the requested apparent right of way at the end of Dog Ridge Road, it will create an extremely dangerous driving condition on the last half mile of asphalt paving of Dog Ridge Road. Please let me explain. The last half mile Dog Ridge Road is at best 12 foot 8 inches wide. Please refer to photographs marked 2A and 2B. They are attached. That's my tape measure there. It shows less than 13 feet. It should be noted that the last half mile of Dog Ridge, in addition to be very narrow, also has no shoulders on the sides of the road, and there are no bump outs to permit cars traveling in opposite directions to pass one another. The last half mile of Dog Ridge absolutely cannot accommodate two-way traffic. If the apparent right of way is permitted, traffic traveling across the new apparent right of way and turning north on the last half mile of Dog Ridge can very easily meet another car or truck driving south on the last half mile of Dog Ridge Road. Since there is no ability to turn around to let another car pass, I think the majority of citizens in Dearborn County would agree that allowing apparent right of way of Dog Ridge would create a very dangerous and unsafe condition by virtue of the fact that two-way traffic will be increased on a road that cannot safely conduct two-way traffic. Please keep in mind that if the apparent right of way is granted, it has the potential to cover 3 parcels of property that total 227.91 acres and can result in significant increased traffic on the last half mile of the asphalt paving on Dog Ridge Road. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, Who wants to come up? All right, come on up. Sorry, I was just trying to catch up.
Oh, that's no problem. My name is Dan Severs, Severs Incorporated. Wow, that's a lot. The reason we put the right-of-way agreement in the property that we sold to Crackles, so that my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren won't have to come before the commissioner to do the same thing, to try to get an easement to access this property. We spoke about accessing over to North Dearborn Road before. We spoke of the expense of doing that. If I was, I think the thought of connecting Dog Ridge and North Dearborn Road, the cost of that, you would not recoup it in developing all this property. But basically, the right-of-way agreement, which we put in, which is simply so we don't have to go before the commissioners again to have an easement onto this last piece of property that we have, that we cannot currently access through any other given roadways.
Thank you. Does anyone else care to speak? Come on up, Mark.
That a sigh?
Yeah,
I'll take that person.
it's a lot of deep digestion here.
I take that person. My name is Mark Hall, raised since 1954 on Dog Ridge, know it very well. Now my family, my son Chris and Amanda have their two girls there on the home place. And RJ and Kelly live on my grandpa's farm there. So we're all with the two boys and my daughter Kelly. And I want to talk about the danger of this issue that is now and then apparent down the road. Right now, between the farms, they walk down that half mile. We were talking about a Dog Ridge, the blacktop part. And it's not even, places is not even 13 feet wide. Two vehicles cannot pass. There's no place to pull off, no shoulders, no pull offs, that no one can get out of each other's way. They'll have to back up a half mile, number one. Number two, the fear is Kelly, she loves to take her dog down the road and take walks. My girls love to go down there with their mules and horses and their four-wheelers, and it's a nice, quiet little road. But the thing is, there's hills that come up and you can't see over them. So on a regular road, if the road's wide enough for two vehicles, then you meet on a hill and there's plenty of room to bypass. There's not that in the last half mile Dog Ridge. So that's a big concern, is safety and the change in our community there, what it's going to do. Number two, I was offended when Joe Graff brought up the point that he didn't trust the petitions that were turned in to the commissioners. There was over 125 people that did not want to see a road opened up into that property or continued over to North Dearborn. And he said that we were telling them the wrong things. Well, you know, I've read the letter to the commissioners that they wrote, and at the very back end of it, it said that it was bought for recreational and as an investment property. Look up the definition of investment property. But the big concern, I guess, in the future is this. You have the decision to open up 227 acres, how many acres, to development. What can happen is if you open this up to Grackle Properties, in their deed, which you have a copy of, they say that the lower, all the Seaver acreages going to North Dearborn has egress and has the right of way to go through Grackle property to Dog Ridge. So if you give them the right to go on Dog Ridge there, at some point in time, they can build a full width, whatever it takes, the width of the road into the lower Seavers property. 50 foot wide, I don't know what the regulations are, but then they could put 40, 50 houses there if they want to. And then think about it. They all have in the deed, they have all 50 of those houses have the right to use that right of way on the Grackle property. So all those people could go up Dog Ridge to East Central High School to go see the football game. So it's one thing can lead to another. And talk about safety, or for the county's gonna be responsible for all that road. And it's a narrow road, so are you gonna go ahead and redo the entire Dog Ridge Road? So it starts out small. And it can get big and bad down and as time goes along, and that's our big concern. That's all I had. Think about my family, please.
Thank you.
And I'll just say for clarification purposes, this property is zoned agricultural and they cannot subdivide it without a zone change. It is zoned agricultural. I just want that to be clear to everyone. It is zoned agricultural. That's what I was just asking Nicole about.
That'd be on a publicly maintained roadway.
So I just want everybody to know that, like, I know there's been a lot of talk about potential, how much acreage is there and it's potentially able to be developed. That cannot happen unless this property were to be changed, the zoning were to change. Which is a process that would have to be a hearing in front of the plan commission, would ultimately have to come to the commissioners. So as we sit right now, that property is zoned agricultural and it cannot be a subdivision.
Nice question, Nicole. If they come up from North Dearborn Road with the right width, how many homes could you put at 227 acres?
It'd have to be public, it'd have to be brought up to public standards. So one of those public standards is the percentage of slope. So, well, from what I've seen of that property, I don't think you could put a public road that would meet the standards of the slope on that hillside.
I've seen some slopes around subdivisions.
But what I'm saying is not for a public road though, not for newer roads. They might have back in the day, but not for newer roads. It has to be under a certain percent for a public road.
Anyone else?
That property bought as recreational property only. It was not bought for any other reason.
Yes, sir. We understand. Thank you.
Just.
If you're gonna speak, you gotta come up.
here.
Tell us who you are.
I'm Tim Severs, also Severs Incorporated. I just wanted to ask, it's zoned agricultural now. Has there been any request for a zoning change?
Not that we
No.
know.
And there won't be. That's just what I wanted to say. I mean, I can't see there being head-on collisions on Dog Ridge Road on that property. So, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, anyone else? All right, motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
All second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Andy, you have something you want to interject into this?
Well, I mean, this is the first time we've all gone through this process. If the commissioners were to establish the parent right of way, it does require an ordinance. My suggestion would be to take what's been presented to the commissioners, the testimony that's been presented under advisement, and that that Mr. Eubank, Mr. Reeves submit proposals to the commissioners. And I would suggest reviewing those at your June 16th meeting. The other thing is, obviously, Commissioner Turner's not here tonight. That would also give him an opportunity to watch tonight's meeting, listen to the testimony, review anything that's been submitted, so that he's fully informed also.
Okay.
But if that's the route you wanted to go, June 12th, that's the Friday before. Grant, is that fine, Jared?
You guys understand what we're saying?
Get an ordinance to Andy.
Okay.
Give me 1 second here.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, fine.
So first, the easement going through that property. And Nicole might be able to answer this then. So if Mr. Severs wanted to build a house and use that easement, does what we're granting is access to that property? If they would have to change zoning then to be able to build a house on the lower lot, I don't know, there's a picture. On the next lot below, the south lot,
So Mr. Seaman property or the property that is in question?
the Severs property, because where this easement now goes through, hang on till he gets the picture. But I'm trying to dispel, I've looked at the GIS maps and now I'm trying to remember what it looks like.
Just gonna search for the Denslers because there's not a lot of those in the county. It makes it easy to find. So Nicole, this is the property, the Grakel property, and then the discussion about the easement is to access the properties here. I assume here.
Well, I'm just say
This this one, this Seavers property.
Easement through what property?
So there's an easement, they granted an easement through this property to this property. So could that property build a house using, if we grant the access for the road to the Grackle property, will their easement allow them to build a house?
Depend on how you would reword. I don't know what the decision would be on how you would word the decision or the ordinance. Honestly, because if you did a apparent right of way, I don't know if there's any restrictions that can be made as far as on those apparent right of way requests.
Right, I mean. What's before the commissioners is whether or not you're gonna say, okay, there's an apparent right of way. Now, that doesn't mean that the county has to develop it and maintain it. Now, if the apparent right of way is established, then I assume Grackle is gonna come to the county and say, hey, we would like to use that apparent right of way to access our property. And so then that's going to be some type of agreement, grant from the county. Because I mean, just in talking with Todd, obviously there's no reason for the county, even if you guys were to determine the right of ways there, that the county is going to do anything with it. So this would just be another step in the process ultimately.
But nothing, going from agricultural to residential would require a zoning change of.
For zoning change, yeah, as far as, so any additional split. Like you just, so in agriculture, they put 2 homes on a property. They can't split, they have to have 2 homes on a property, so it'd have to be family or something. But we run into issues if that's the old standard as far as, farmers, family, wanting their family. Property. Most of the time nowadays, banks do not allow it. They want to grab on to something. And that's where we run into that ordinance. People are like, oh yeah, I wanna do this. We say, go check with your bank first. Cause we may not say no, but your bank will say. And the other part of that too is splitting it would have to be on a publicly maintained road to have frontage. Not just a right of way. So if you guys say it's an apparent right of way, you can't split it because it's a apparent right of way. It has to be off a publicly maintained road.
So granting the parent right of way to the Grackles doesn't meet the standards to build a house on the Seavers below Grackles. Cause there's no frontage to a.
Well, so that's an pre-existing non-conforming lot. I'm saying an additional split.
Okay.
So these are pre-existing non-conforming parcels. That's what we find out with most of these roads that are on old right of way. So nothing of the property owner did anything to create the situation they're in. It was at some point the county stopped maintaining it, or it was too hard to maintain it, or something, a part of it collapsed. But it's no apparent fault of a property. Now, if someone now we actually do research when we have someone that is requesting a permit, we try to figure these out. We actually do the research. Has this been created as a non-buildable lot? Because if a survey came in to split this as it is, and it had no frontage, that's how it's labeled as non-buildable in today's standards. But if we go back and this was created, this parcel was a parcel back for a old road right of way. It's a pre-existing non-conforming parcel. So it's hard for us to say, no, you can't build on it. At least a single family residential house, but it is easy for us to say you can't have 5 splits on it. Because you're looking at a parcel that hasn't changed over how many years. That's a fault of their own.
Okay.
You guys have any other questions?
Oh, probably, but.
So I guess,
You wanna clarify?
so Grant, you said that was fine too, June 12th, Jared, June 12th.
Yep, June 12th.
So I would just ask that commissioners motion to table this matter and request that the attorneys present to the county attorney proposed ordinances by June 12th.
So move. I'll second that.
Yeah, end of day, because the meeting's the 16th, so I'll have time to get it to everybody.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Jim, did you first that or did Wayne?
I made the motion.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, old business, Miss Beatty is not here, she's at a graduation for kindergarten.
Yep, for her granddaughter.
Okay,
She deeply apologizes that she just found out that this graduation was tonight. And one of the original questions was why why it took so long and why the files didn't upload. And she's still trying to wait, or she's still waiting, and she reached out to them again today and I didn't hear back from her. Her vendor is called ES&S, and they're trying to determine why their files did not upload to something called ElectionWare. And the numbers, she said, that were reported were correct, and she certified them to the state yesterday on Monday.
okay,
And she will come to the meeting on June 2nd with anything she hears from
okay.
ES&S.
So if anybody has questions, they should hold off until Wendy's here.
So Wendy's here on the
Ask those
2nd.
questions from
Yep.
the person responsible for those. Okay? All right, thank you. Nicole Daly, planning and zoning, you have an update for us?
Yeah, just a small one, but I told you I'd be here at the evening meetings. So we do have a public workshop for solar, BESS and data centers tomorrow in this room, from 6 to 8:30. We've put out flyers, put it in the paper, try to get as much notice out there. It's going to be a workshop based where we'll have different stations, take different questions, have different based on already collected input. There may be some short, just standard ordinances, examples, comparison, side by side, chance for people to vote. We're actually also going to try to have this at least, may not be tomorrow exactly, but the day after, for people that can't make it. We're uploading it on our website, the same boards and everything that we will have at the workshop. To where people could still be included, if we take votes, if we have surveys, questions, they can still participate in that. It just won't be during the meeting, but they can do it still after the meeting. So they'll have an opportunity to still see those boards, review that information from the website. And then we will also have, I'm trying to have also the noise study that we did. I'm gonna try to have that on a rolling rotation so people will be able to see it as far as the different locations, what those readings were, where those were at. Trying to put that together to make it easier for visually seen on the TVs while we're also meeting here in the room. I also wanted to say we'll have 2 other public workshops that we will start advertising. How we do those 2 will be based on how this one works, and then some further information in the plan commission meeting the following week. We will have one on June 18th and July 16th. They will be here. So I will tell you, we've looked at a couple different places. The last would be any schools, because so we looked at Agner Hall to make more room. But the cost of that for one meeting was $500 deposit plus $350 for the rental. So it was a large amount of money for our budget to be expended on one meeting. So
Which school was that?
no, that was just Agner Hall.
Oh.
To have a larger
Oh, okay.
space. But one of the things that's nice about this is we'll still have it live streamed as well. With the cameras. And like I said, so any conversations will still be able to hear, questions and answers will still be able to be heard. And like I said, any boards will be on the website for people to still be able to watch it and participate, even after the fact. So that's just a short update on what we've done to date and what we'll have for tomorrow. And then proceeding additional workshops. You guys have any questions?
Do you have anything else for us?
The only thing I want to be able to say is, if, in case the commissioners don't know, today we had a meeting with the convention visitor tourism group. We were granted 16,400 for the park board. They have met their $1 million goal for the Stellar Community or Stellar Pathways program, for the Bright Park.
Wow, that's great.
And just to let people know, because we have had rumors, the money is being spent at that park because we were only allowed to do one park. We couldn't divvy up the monies. And it's the most used park out of the 5 county parks. So just that's a bit of good news.
Yep.
For tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Citizens Review Committee, resolution to establish that committee.
Yes, so we discussed this last meeting.
Yep.
And we I reviewed the purpose and duties, terms and operations considerations, and then we kind of discussed the composition. So I'll just read through the composition as put together based on the discussion last time. Committee shall be composed of 7 members appointed by the Board of Commissioners and shall include 1 member from the Board of Commissioners appointed by the Board of Commissioners, 6 citizen members appointed by the Board of Commissioners. All committee members must be residents of Dearborn County and at least 18 years of age. Committee must be balanced as to their position, pro, anti-neutral as to SESC, BES, and or data centers. Committee members serve at the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners and may be removed and replaced by majority vote of the Board of Commissioners. I did add under terms, operation considerations, again, based on the discussion we had last time, that committee members and any public in attendance at committee meeting shall abide by the meeting decorum rules previously adopted by the Board of Commissioners. In C there, 4C, I did also add that public written and email comments not only could be submitted to planning and zoning, but also could be submitted to the county administrator, just clearing that up. And then did put together an application, as we discussed, that would be completed and then submitted to the county administrator.
Yeah, I read it all this afternoon. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Thanks, we've got a motion to approve the,
Do you know the number?
It should be written on.
Yeah, 6.
So, 6.
Yeah.
I think I got 2 copies of the same thing here, but that's okay, because I'm not signing these anyway.
No, the second one, this is a different one.
I think mine are the same.
Look at the number at the bottom.
Oh, those are
That's different. That's the next thing.
that resolution has a
That's
real
the-
long title. That's Jared's doing. That's not my doing.
That's for the,
Well,
you don't have this one.
I don't have them, so that's okay.
So it's resolution 2026-006, a resolution of the Dearborn County Board of Commissioners establishing the Solar, BES, and Data Center Citizen Review Committee.
Make a motion to accept it as presented by Andy.
Mr. Button, okay. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You're gonna get that application out there?
Yeah, I have a list of everybody that has submitted interest. And I will tomorrow email that application and the requirements, and there's a sheet that they need to sign.
Make the one requirement crystal clear.
Yeah, and I'll also email a copy of the resolution as well,
But the one where it has to be completed
completely.
100% or it'll be
Denied.
thrown out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, donation of land, acreage on White Hill Road.
Oh,
White
you got
Hill
the
Road.
LCD one before that.
What's
You
that?
gotta do the LCD.
The LCD one first.
Oh, I got, okay.
You X'd it out already.
This is,
Go ahead.
we're just playing some catch up here to county council. As you are both, I think, well aware, the Lawrenceburg Conservancy District did appear in front of county council and had a very long and I think successful and informative discussion about the project that the LCD is working on with the Lawrenceburg levee system as well as the Greendale levee system. And ultimately, county council did vote to allocate up to $420,000 towards that project to be utilized as matching funds. So I do actually have two resolutions because council approved one and then they ultimately amended it. And I think just to keep our paperwork straight, you would want to approve both also. So initially the funding, it was a grant. One of the contingencies was that the project received formal grant award from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, or through a FEMA administered program providing funding for the project. So that was Joint Resolution 2026-004. And then after Mr. Eubank spoke with the LCD's grant writers, they did ask if that could be widened somewhat and not just limited to FEMA or FEMA backed grants. And so council did approve Joint Resolution 2026-004A. And that does change that to say the project contemplated here in receiving a formal grant award from any federal or state agency or through a grant program administered by such agency providing funding for the project. So I would ask for a motion to approve both Joint Resolution 2026-004 and Joint Resolution 2026-004A.
So moved.
All in favor?
Oh, aye.
Motion carries. Or I'll second it. All in favor.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Thought the third guy up there is just a little confusing sometimes. All right.
There you got 2 signatures.
Yeah.
Okay, good, you're putting them all the way down.
Yeah.
I'll color that.
Okay.
A lot of trees today.
Yeah.
Now we can do the donation of land.
So yes, this is a parcel of property that, who did they reach out to?
Tawny.
Connie. They reached out to the auditor. It's a Charles W. Jones III and Vicky L. Jones. They own a small 0.127 acre piece of property that is essentially almost the entire intersection of Whites Hill Road and Pinhook Road. So it is a piece of property that they own, but it is largely made up of roadway that we maintain. And so they had reached out to the auditor about donating that property to the county. So that ultimately is going to require them to deed it to us. But I did think it would make sense to keep the paperwork straight and to do a resolution accepting the donation of that real property. And the county is permitted to accept donations of property pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-4-10.
So everything's been completed. All we need to do is approve the.
So I reached out to Andrea Ewan, who had handled the closing when the Joneses bought the property, and she said that there was an existing mortgage that was paid off, I think, when the property sold back in 2024, and she wasn't aware of any new encumbrances. I had mentioned it to Connie about checking with Joyce, but I never heard any issues raised.
So we can legally go ahead and accept this individual.
So unless you want me to double check with the auditor and the recorder just to make sure.
I think maybe I'd rather have you check.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's just be sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And also, yeah, Todd saw it too, and he said, yeah, it would make sense for us to own that because it is mostly our road.
Should we move to table this till next?
Yes, so it's 2026-007 if you want to move to table that.
So I'll make a motion to table resolution 2026-007 till the next commissioner meeting. Or such time you can get a check.
There you go. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. All right, next up is the 911 board appointment.
Andy, do you want to do that or you want me to?
If you want to.
Okay, so Jason Sullivan sent an email out, and alerting us that Austin Woods has resigned from the 911 board. And the 911 board member, was appointed by the Aurora, no, Matthew Helms is from the Aurora Police Department. And they would like to have, recommending him be the replacement for, Austin. And the mayors, all three mayors, Carstetter, Schwing, and Milan have approved. They give their blessing, so if you guys would want Matthew House to replace Austin Woods.
So it's an Aurora appointment?
It's a commissioner's appointment, but the mayors have to
Okay.
give
So
their blessings.
there's nothing to sign, it's just a matter of
It's just.
approving Austin.
Yep.
Does she have a question?
What's his name? Matthew Hunts.
House.
I make a motion to accept Matthew Hounds to the 911 board.
I'll second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You'll notify him?
Yeah, I'll let Jason know, and Jason can.
Okay, do you have anything for us?
The only thing that I have is I've been emailing you guys about the CGI digital, the video program that they've offered up. It's a free video that the county can partake in, as long as we do a 2 or 3 year agreement with them, and then, provide a letter for them to send out to businesses to advertise on our video. So I didn't know if you guys had reviewed that and you would like me to move forward with it. You want to review it a little bit more?
What do you think?
I mean, they answered all the questions that I was concerned about what could be advertised on it. Can it be,
Yeah.
gotten rid of the content of it, and they're granting us kind of review of it. So, I mean, the ones they showed, the ones I looked at, all look, nice, that could be useful,
Yeah,
to the county. I don't see it. There's no cost in it to us, so.
right. It's just time consuming, and we'll have to work with them to do a, script, and then have them bring in the drones, and there are some, they only go like 5 miles, so it's not like they could do the whole county in one video. But she did say that there's an opportunity to do up to 6 videos, so maybe we could showcase the northern part of the county and the southern part, because One Dearborn already does videos like this, and they put it out on the One Dearborn site, but this would be our own Dearborn County one. So,
I don't see any harm in it.
No cost, right?
Yeah,
No
no
cost.
cost.
Okay.
the only cost would be is the time consuming.
You've got nothing else.
I got nothing else. And Andy, you looked at their agreement that they sent, and you didn't have any real problems with it.
No, I felt better after I read their what the additional attachment they sent us as far as what they look for as the advertising and their policy and.
Yeah, and then you would be more comfortable with me requesting a 2, because if she sent a 3-year, and I can send her back and say.
What happens after 3 years?
After 2 or 3 years, then we can remove it, or we can sign
Okay,
back
yeah.
up with them
Sign
and
back
have
up, yeah.
have another one done, I'm assuming.
There
Like,
would
okay.
probably be a cost involved, maybe this is to get.
No. They're funding themselves by selling the advertising.
Yeah,
That's how they're paying for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So they're making some money, but we also get a video we can use.
yeah.
I'm always suspicious of money.
Yeah.
Trying to lure you in.
Good.
Okay, anything else from administrative?
Nope, but do you want to make a motion,
Do-
Andy, should they do a motion?
Obviously, do we have an agreement or with everything
it-
complete, or should we motion to have them send us an official agreement to?
Well, I
Ask
believe
next
I can
meeting.
sign it, so if you want to make the motion that they send a 2-year agreement and authorize me to sign it.
So moved, since you're writing the minutes.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, and that's all I have.
Okay,
me.
for administrator, you're filling in for Connie tonight. You have claims?
Actually, do we do minutes first or claims?
Claims
I don't know what the order is.
Usually-
Yes, we have several.
What do you got?
I don't know. Whatever she stuck in this.
That's going in your file.
Don't ever let me be the auditor. Okay, so this is payroll. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of claims.
Okay,
Make a motion, we accept claims.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Are you gonna fill in for Kevin,
Nope.
his signature?
You don't have to.
We don't have to on this.
They'll put absent on.
Okay.
And like on all the resolutions that you signed, I had put absent.
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I asked. Okay, you got payroll.
I have set payroll.
Motion to approve payroll.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then there's a set of minutes for May 6th.
Motion to accept the minutes from May 6th.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, Mr. Button, so you have anything additional for us?
Oh, I think I've spoken enough.
We pay you by the word though, right?
What-
All
what-
right, do we have any late arrival information?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay, I forgot.
All right.
I'm Tamara Taylor. I'm here on behalf of the Bright Area Business Association. Yet again this year, we're having the Bright Parade on July 25th. And I am here to ask that we close State Line Road from Snakeville to Salt Fork and then Salt Fork to Judd on that day from 10:50 until, we'll say 1, but I'll bet it's 12:20, 12:30.
What date was it again?
July 25th. And Sheriff McHenry has already agreed to this.
Okay, it's the rubber stamp type
It's
thing.
the rubber stamp.
25th, you said?
Yeah, practice your waves now.
You wanna make a motion to?
Make a motion to allow them to close the road for the parade on July 25th. From the time 10 to 1,
10:50 to, we'll say 1, but it could be 12:20, 12:30.
10:50 to 1.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Okay, anyone else for this? Okay. Public comment? Commissioner comments, you have anything for us to see?
Nope.
I don't either, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
I'll second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.